true to you is not about being perfect. It's about being authentic. It's about being okay with the good, bad, and ugly. To accept those things about ourselves that we can't change, and those things that need to be changed, we put on our big girl panties and do the work. Be true to you is about being real with God, being real with self, so we can be true to you. Be true to you is not about competing with one another. We're about complimenting one another. Hey, what's up? What's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela. Welcome to the Be True to You Talk Show. You know what we do. Go ahead, like, share, and make sure you invite your sister, your brother, your auntie, your cousin, everyone. They want to be a part of this show. Now, before we get into the show, let me just say I apologize if this subject trigger anything in you. I apologize if it make you feel any kind of way, but know that this is so necessary. Now, you already saw the title is about growing through childhood trauma. And so, before we go any further, let me introduce my guest, my special guest, my friend, Lawanda will be Lawanda. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello.
How are you doing today?
You know what? I'm okay.
Good,
I'm
good.
doing well.
And so this is a special day to you, for you, and to you. But before we get into this, I also want to bring a woman of education that can help us through this here topic, because this is something that I feel like we should be mindful about how we address it, be mindful how we show up. And so I want to bring on your friend as well, Dr. Tasha. Hello, Dr. Tasha.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you guys for saying yes. And Lawanda, thank you for sharing this day. So before we go on, introduce yourself to the people, because I know you, but everybody else don't know.
Absolutely. So, my name is Lawanda, will be Lawanda, and I am a local MC. I do events throughout South Florida, internationally, and abroad. And I also am a survivor of childhood trauma. And so tonight, I wanted to take an opportunity to share with you a bit of my journey and how I was able to finally break free from that thing that caused me um, to stumble in so many words.
Okay. And so, Dr. Tasha, do me a favor and explain to the people how you're showing up tonight.
Hi everyone. My name is Dr. Tasha. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology. I am the founder of Drive By Therapy, which is the name of my brand. I'm the past president of the Association of Black Psychologists down here in South Florida, and I think I have the best job in the world. So I have been able to be alongside her in this therapeutic journey for the past
2 years.
years.
Mhm.
And the fact that we're even doing this is a blessing, because who would have thought that it would have gone from the couch, literally in front of the bookcase, to the podcast and then to the world. And so we appreciate that you guys are listening to
Right.
us. Definitely share this if you know that you are related to someone that has not addressed their childhood trauma. If you know someone, a friend of yours, that has some unresolved sexual abuse in their life that's difficult to talk about, we're going to get into it tonight. And it's a real blessing that you're going to listen to us and let us know what you need from us, even while we're doing this interview.
Thank you for sharing that. You guys, just give me one moment. You know, things couldn't go wrong. Nothing is wrong, but we're just trying to get some things in place, because we want everyone to be able to grow from this. We want you
Sure.
to be able to be healed from this. We want this show to make a difference. We don't want it to be just another show. This show is so important. And so we want to share something with you guys. And I just want to make sure that I'm able to deliver. And so, while we're doing this, please be so kind to go ahead, like, share, and comment. Again, like, share, and comment. Invite your friends. Invite someone who has experienced some life struggles and issues, and you know that this show will help make a difference. And so we are excited. Why I'm doing that, Lawanda, can you do me a favor?
Hmm.
Today is March 4th.
Yes.
Why today? Because this is a day that you was going to be on the show, but this is a day that stood out to you, and this is a day that made something rise in you. Why today?
Yeah, great question. I found that when I found out that the Be True to You talk show was coming back out of what I consider to be a long hiatus, um, and you posted a flyer, and the flyer literally just said, "Hey, we're relaunching on March the 4th." And I saw it, and I immediately resonated in my spirit because March the 4th is a very important day to me. As a matter of fact, throughout my therapeutic journey, um, I always had asked Dr. Tasha if she would do something with me on this day. As a matter of fact, I made the request 3 months ago, and I asked her if she would do something with me on this date because it has such a major significance to me. March 4th is the only day of the year that tells you to do something. I want you to think about this. March 4th. It literally means to march forward, march ahead, go forth, do something different with your life. And for me, coming out of my circumstances, my situations that took 2 years of house work,
Mm.
2 years of literally saying I would never ever tell my story. I would never have a conversation with my violators. I would never um, have this conversation. There's something about the process of therapy that allows it to start down at the pinky toe and work its way all the way up to the awareness. And before you know it, you are speaking forth truth that is liberating, that is freeing, that is challenging, but that also can set you free. So March 4th, I'm marching forward today.
I love that you just said that because it's a really important factor to know that once you start this journey of some type of therapeutic coaching, even if it's like consulting to find out do you even need to be on someone's couch. The truth is, the minute that it starts, it's not pretty, right? Because you have to now address what actually was comfortably kind of laying dormant, right? And so it sometimes gets a little ugly. I always say, if you're comfortable, that you're doing it right. And so I just want to commend you that as uncomfortable as this has been to get to this point, I guess I'm just really proud of you as a clinician to know that this was supposed to be. You weren't even thinking you were going to expose this because of the personality trait
Right.
of making sure that everybody is fine.
Right.
And so in its own, this is you really coming out. I love when you said March 4th really is coming out of something. That's how it speaks to me. I love that you said forward and ahead, but something about fourth also means to come out of. And she is definitely coming out of a stronghold that held her for 45, 50 years.
When it came out, it was 38 years.
38
It
years.
took 38 years
Wow.
for me to give the little girl inside of me a voice. But it is now 4 years because there are 2 years of me
Yeah.
trigger that happened that caused me to revisit that thing and need to and
You
Yeah.
said a word, and I want to go back on this, Dr.
um the truth of the matter is I never really anticipated, and that's a great question. I never really anticipated, like we were saying, ever really addressing this publicly. But I happened to be listening to some ministry, and well, let me back up. I went to my childhood home, and I ran into my abuser, and I some things happened that triggered me, that made me need to get on the couch. It was not a planned situation. This has been it's not been an ongoing thing, but it was something that has constantly been a permanent fixture in my life. It was always there. I was always able to tolerate, accept, and deal. But something happened when I visited my childhood home that triggered me, and that made now become necessary.
Trigger. That is a word that has so many meaning to it,
Yeah.
right? It has so much depth to it. And so when you say triggered, that means you was able to now unbury some feelings or some thoughts, or even push some things to the side that now has the word that you like to use, unraveled.
Ooh, yes.
Ooh, that word right there. That was a virtual session that day. I remember we weren't even in front of each other.
Yes.
Oh my.
Unravel. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Unravel was a major breakthrough, I can say,
Mhm.
for me.
To name it, to
To
be able to name it.
right? To be able to give my trauma a name and to really understand the process that I was in was about really just unraveling, and to bring it to the forefront, to really acknowledge it and make it make sense. And there was like a dictionary definition that you sent me.
Oh Lord.
It was,
Where
yeah,
is it?
it was a dictionary definition of what unraveling means, and it was literally to cast off, to take away, and it was really clinical, and it just became a major milestone in my process.
So, Dr. Tasha, when you hear the word unravel, help us understand that as far as the steps that she had to go through to get to that place where she was now being vulnerable.
So obviously in session, which obviously we couldn't go back and figure out what was said verbatim for me to even have the feeling of the or have the word that came literally into my, it was like in my know. I call this my know. We all gotta know. Some of
Mhm.
us don't listen to our know,
Right
but
on.
we gotta know,
Mhm.
right? So in my know, I heard unravel and I was like, oh wow, she's gonna have to allow herself to unravel. Now, some say allow yourself to break,
Mhm.
right? But this was different because she had already what she was already in her breaking, like her purposeful, intentional, like I don't want this on me anymore.
Mhm.
But it was an unraveling that almost reminds me of like a when a, I hate to even use this word, but we just gonna use it. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Like when a snake gets new skin
Mhm.
and this old skin unravels and it literally has almost like a spiral to it, which means that like all of that used to be all connected to this.
Mhm.
And now it has fallen off.
Mhm.
Okay, so you said a word,
Okay.
spiral.
Oof.
It's
So
crazy. I just thought of that. That's really what it is.
right, and so in that unraveling, it can cause one to spiral out of control.
Truly.
And so it made a difference that she was able to reach out to you to help her be able to grasp where to move forward, how to move forward. And so when you hear the word unravel, when you hear the word spiral, have you ever felt like you were spiraling out of control?
Never. Because I didn't feel like I was out of control. No, I might have to rewind that. Yeah, I'm going to have to say yes, because I believe that when we are in trauma, when you're in traumatic situations, when they are in your face, they are your day to day, your everyday norm, that sometimes you just simply don't know that you are traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You just exist in that thing.
Mhm.
It's like the woman that is being abused and physically abused in the home, and for us looking in, we're like, ain't no way in the world I would ever stay and let somebody pound the stovetop stuffing out of me. But
Mhm.
to her, it's just her norm. And
Mm.
so for me, because my abuser, being a very close family acquaintance, um, because I was constantly, it was like, it was constantly in my face. It was always there. I just learned how to cope with it. Um, and accept it and deal with it. And, and my whole family, like we all just got into a rhythm of trying to deal with the reality of what we were dealing with as a family. It was just part of our everyday life, everyday existence. It was just always there. But I believe that the spiral happened for me when I my hometown and I moved to South Florida. That was 18 years ago. And during that time, you know, when I was in my hometown, if I was faced with it, I could, just, get out of the situation. But, here it really made me remember things
Mm.
that I just didn't think about. It made me just, um, face some things that I really, because I was going back and forth into it, and it was constant. It was a on again, off again. I was constantly going back and forth into it, and there was just reminders and situations that really caused me to feel like I was just losing control. And I started to see things. I started to notice little nuances, and I started to notice, little clues and things that were laying around and that were always in my face, but I just never really acknowledged. It was weird. And so when I would come home, I would have to unpack that, and
Mm-hmm.
I would have to deal with those things. So I believe that in the going back and forth and just picking up and seeing things from my childhood, looking at old pictures and just things that were just different, because my eyes had been open
Mm-hmm.
to, because I was no longer living in it on a daily basis, is what caused me to finally kind of spiral out of control, where I had to address it. And then there was that time that before I became a client of Dr. Tasha, I was invited to go to a film premiere
Mm.
here in Miami at the Little Haiti Cultural Center. And, I, we know each other. We have a friendly relationship. But we weren't in a therapeutic or a business relationship at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that show was talking about the very same thing. And I remember sitting in that audience listening to her and saying, wow, I'm going to have to sit on her couch,
Mm-hmm.
because the things that she was saying was just so my story. And it's very much the same as you and I. When you and I got connected, I knew that I wanted you to be my interviewer and have the exclusive, because of the relationship, and so all
I,
of that.
I was just going to ask you that question. Why share would be true to you? Why share this?
Listen, first of all, yeah, number one,
Mm-hmm.
we're friends
Mm-hmm.
and I can trust you.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sensitive topic,
It is.
and I cannot put this type of situation into the hands of an irresponsible
Mm-hmm.
interviewer.
Mm.
I can't give this information to a money hungry individual that would exploit me. I've been violated enough. I've been
Wow.
exploited enough. I couldn't trust my story in the hands of a stranger who
Mm-hmm.
may just wanted to try to capitalize, and because this is part of my therapy.
Mm-hmm.
This is not me just telling
Mm.
business. This is part of the process of me walking in my truth and be true to myself.
Right.
So that's why be true to you became important to me, because I am learning how to be true to myself.
This is powerful. I wanted to say, as you said, this is your therapy. You're helping others as well, not just
Indeed.
yourself, because this is not a selfish moment. You're not
Right.
just sharing because you just want to share. You're sharing because you know that there's so many people that had experienced the same thing you're experiencing, and you want them to know that they're not alone.
Right.
You also want them to know that it may take years to overcome. May take years for you to unveil, unravel, spiral, but at the end there is hope.
That's right.
And so I want Dr. Taksha to tell us how someone of age like 18 years, 38 years, how does that affect them that they had to hold that in forever? Because me looking on the outside looking in, that makes a difference in your life, in a relationship, the way you raise kids,
Absolutely.
the way you have you make friends. All of that will hinder you for showing your authentic self.
You're right. It's interesting. Even when you asked her about acting out, when you asked her about spiraling out of control, and it didn't resonate with her because that's not really how she shows up. Because you can act out and it still look really pretty and it still
Mm.
smiles, right?
Yeah.
But when we think of spiraling out of control, it's like, who is enraged, right?
Mhm.
That's the first thought. But the truth is, someone can be internally, like, it could really be like a torturous
Mhm.
moment going on inside, like an internal conflict of who they actually are and how they show up in relationships. I love that you said that. And that's with, it could be romantic relationships, it could be relationship with your actual sibling. But truly, it's all about your relationship with yourself
Self.
of the truth,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
which is clearly what you're all about,
Mhm.
being true to you. I mean, it's to deal with the truth, and the ability to have suppressed it for 38 years,
38 years.
right?
Mm.
Means that we are not dealing, right?
Mhm.
So the way she was dealing was by not dealing, right?
Yeah.
And some of y'all know exactly what that's like, right? Because you're doing it right now until we're talking about it. Like, man, I've been not dealing, and that's how I've been coping, right?
Mhm.
Or I've been quietly, I don't know. There's things that we can do in relationships where we do things for others to like
Mhm.
us, right?
Mhm.
Because forever no one was acknowledging what really happened. So if I do good things, then maybe you will then acknowledge me,
Wow, you're
right?
trying to buy love in a sense with your action.
Clearly.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to ask this question right here. When you went back home, like you had lived there forever,
Mm-hmm.
you had to get from the environment.
Mm-hmm.
You had to get into a whole new setting just to see clear.
Right.
Sometimes we're so close, right? We're
Mhm.
too close to see. And so it literally took you to move to South Florida
Mhm.
for the scales to fall off your
Ooh,
eyes.
good. Yes.
And so you can see those things that you had suppressed, those things that you had tried to keep in. And sometimes I feel like we're so busy trying to keep the peace,
Mm-hmm.
but in the midst of keeping the peace, it's killing us.
Yes.
And so you not only dealt with that for 18, well, came away from it for 18 years, but when you went home, you was faced with your accuser.
Yeah.
Constantly you was faced with them. You had to see them. You knew them. They was not a stranger. You even probably, I don't know, but you probably even had some form of relationship with them,
Sure.
some form of friendly relationship with them. They were in your life active.
Yeah.
And so all of those things was going on in your life, but yet you still had to show up.
Yes.
In the midst of you showing up, you had to show up in uh, one marriage or two marriage. You had to show up in marriages.
Yeah.
You had to show up as a mother.
Yeah.
You had to show up as a friend.
Yes.
You had to show up as far as church ministering. You had to show up in all those aspects. And so, in all of those, for lack of better words, you was masking.
Yeah.
And so now the masks have to come off.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to deal with the hurt, the pain, the scars.
Right.
Now you have to take off layers of things that you use to secure yourself,
Sure.
to protect yourself,
Right.
to cope with life. What does LaWanda look like
Yeah.
now?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good question right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
yeah. And answer.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, who am I now that I
Mhm.
have exposed this to me?
Mhm.
Right.
Before I can even expose it to the world. That is the true new
Mhm.
identity. She doesn't know her.
Right.
She doesn't know her. This is a new, it's saying, hi, how are you? LaWanda will be LaWanda. Oh, I'm fine. Well, no, actually, I'm actually not fine.
Mhm.
Right.
Because I'm not going to act like I'm fine when I'm not.
Mhm.
We're no
Right.
longer doing that.
Yes.
And we've been taught that that's the wrong thing, right?
Yep. Mhm.
We can't show that we're not okay, but
Yeah.
it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And so I love the idea that you have Dr. Tasha here to help us know that it's okay to not be okay.
Oh,
Because a
absolutely.
lot of us are not okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us are dealing with things that are showing up that we don't even know why we respond the way we do. Now I'm sure, I don't know, I'm asking, do you question yourself? Is this really me? Is this what I really like?
I have to constantly ask myself those questions because the only thing I knew how to do was work to earn love.
Wow.
That's all I knew. I worked to earn love. I worked to get people to like me
Mm.
because I was absent that. My trauma put me in a situation where I just wanted somebody to acknowledge that, hey, I'm here, I exist, I'm a human being. That hurt me. Like, that thing was really a challenge for me. That was hard. And I was a kid. And I think that that is the hardest part, is knowing that as a child I was thrust into a very adult situation and being made to handle it as if I had the tools,
Mm.
I had the cognitive ability, I had the responsibility to take on the responsibility that the adults that surrounded my life had. It was, and I don't think I did that very well. Like, I took a moment to, during my process, I went back to my childhood memory book and I started looking at, who I was from the time that I went to kindergarten, and what I was doing at the time of during my abuse. And I remember, like, going from a student that was, so wonderful and polite and a joy to be around, to all of a sudden suspended 6 times in the 6th grade.
How old were you when it?
I was, to the best of my recollection, 9 years old when my
Wow.
abuse began. But I will tell you, like, it was not just straightforward. Like, what I was groomed.
Mm.
I was groomed. I was, there was attention given. There was, special little favors, extra money to go to the corner store and buy, more now and laters. There was, little things that, made me feel like, I was I was a favorite. I was special.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what allowed the little girl in me to um go along
Mm-hmm.
with one of the most egregious acts that an adult man can ever make towards a little girl.
Wow.
Because I didn't know. I didn't know it was wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know. And you know and and it didn't start out, that way. It started out, just a little favoritism, and just a little favor, and then it, just a little touch, and then just a little kiss, and it progressed and progressed and progressed, because the pedophile and my attacker was never satisfied. There was nothing that would not allow that individual to just say, okay, I've gone too far. And with me, the sexual abuse continued. And it grew more and more egregious as I began to get older. And I believe that the age in which it stopped was probably about the age of 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I had to figure a lot of stuff out.
So 13, from 9 to 13,
Hmm.
did you ever tell anyone?
No, I never told anyone. Um, and I didn't tell anyone because of the threats. There were not threats that, like, I'm going to kill you or burn down your house. No, no, not that. But there were threats of what would happen to my family, what would happen to our house, what would happen to the other adults that was involved, what could potentially go wrong with my siblings, and what would, like, it was just so many things that was thrown at a child that I didn't know what to do. But I certainly did act out enough for somebody that was an adult to say, this isn't normal, this behavior, there's something wrong with this child. We need to figure out what's going on with this child. There needed to have been somebody that paid enough attention. My nickname is Chrissy. There needed to be somebody who paid attention to Chrissy to say, she ain't acting right,
Mm-hmm.
something is different about her. Like, yo, because now in my free space that I'm in now, I can see it on little girls. I can certainly see little girls that carry themselves the way that I was showing up at that age and say, yeah, something's going on that, hey mom, hey dad, you may want to check and see, if little Billy down the street is doing something, or if Mr. Smith around the corner, he like to get all the kids a little candy. Y'all might need to check on his background, maybe run a police report. Because I can see it. I can see it.
Hold that right there. I want to show this clip, and I want you to just listen to it, and then after we listen to it, we're going to have a conversation about it.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I think it's important, so we're just going to let this set with us, because I'm sure that you're not the only one. I'm sure that others that's listening can this would resonate with them.
Right.
And I just believe this is going to uncover. I just believe there is a purpose that we're sharing this, and so we're gonna just key it up.
All right.
Was inside of me when I was pregnant with my son. I just didn't know that when I was pregnant with him, I was also pregnant with this. And so when I started getting triggered, I said, I'm going to stay in the tension of being triggered in this moment, because I know I'm not a 13-year-old pregnant girl anymore. And there is no way that God could transform my life and then bring me back to this moment to take me backwards. So God, if you got me standing in the place of the pain, then maybe I got something to inform the pain. Somebody's got some information for your past. Somebody's got a revelation about who you were. God says, not every trigger is meant to destroy you. Some triggers are meant to deliver you. Some triggers are meant to help you go back and get the pieces of yourself that you thought you would never get back again. God says some of these triggers are meant to help you heal.
Ooh, ooh. So take a deep breath. Ooh. One more time. And let's get into it. Let's get into that thing called trigger.
My Lord. Triggers. That is just so true. Sarah Jakes Roberts has been ministering to me throughout this journey. It's almost as if she's talking directly to me. Glory Triggers was like one of those messages that made me take action. As a matter of fact, when I first heard it, I had been in therapy for about 6 months. And when I went into therapy, I went in saying, I don't know why I'm paying you to listen to this, because I'm never going to do anything about it.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I would say things to her like, I don't even know, why I'm like sitting here week after week and going through all of this shedding and shredding, because I'm never going to confront the people that did this to me. Never. I was resolute in that. But then Glory Triggers showed up. And when Glory Triggers showed up, I remember sending a text message to one of the adults that was involved in this situation. And in that text message, it was very raw, it was very truthful, it was rather disrespectful because it didn't come out in the neat, pretty little box that I kept it in for all of those years. It was like, let's talk about this. Because I believe that Pastor Pastor Roberts is right that all triggers don't come to destroy us. Some of those triggers come to set us free. And I had to acknowledge, God, if you have me standing in this place right now, right here, all these years later, that it must be a reason for it and that you're going to use it to be able to help somebody else. I had to do it. I had to do it. And even though I would go back and forth to my hometown over and over again, you know, I'm 53 years old and I'm not 13. I don't have no fear of that person. Listen, you won't want to try me like that because I ain't no little girl no more. You know, I got a whole different set of skills. How was it in Taken? I got a particular set of skills.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to.
you don't,
You don't want to.
I got a particular set
Yeah.
of skills.
I don't. You know, I'm like, you know, I don't think that my attacker even wanted to try that. You know, I mean, I'm 38 years removed. I'm all woman and a little thug. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Pray,
Got a little thug in us.
yeah, pray for me. Don't play with me now. I'm like, you know, so it was just a different set of circumstance. But, you know, I come to know that, you know, people who deal and struggle with pedophilia, like, they don't just stop. They just don't quit.
They move on to others.
They just find and there was some triggers and some things that happened that made me say, literally, that made me leave the city in tears. And, you know, I called some of my family members and, you know, they were just like, we can't handle this because, you know, they know, my family knows this is not a secret. This is not, you know, LaWanda coming out with he touched me 38 years later and nobody knew. Like, this is like a family, a tightly held, a closely vetted, you know, family secret that, you know, they know.
Like,
you know.
Black people was always told, what goes on in the home stays in the home.
That was exactly what we were dealing with.
So let me ask you a question. You had a relationship, as far as, when I say relationship, I'm not talking sex, but you knew this person. This was like a person that was in your life that you had a relationship with on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Tasha.
Okay, because I had some.
Yeah,
okay,
Dr. Tasha. Is that normal? Have you seen?
Normal for those in a household to protect a predator? Yes. She was taught how to protect a predator, right? Because that's the question for those that are listening and are thinking, man, have I been protecting a predator? Right? Am I related to one? Am I friends with? Right? Because it's uncomfortable. It really is uncomfortable to then have to separate from the person that you love due to exactly this. Isn't that amazing? It's almost easier for you to call the little girl fast from 9 to 15 and not the man, grown man, right? Who knows his penis is for another adult.
Right.
Can we say that out loud?
You can say it.
We can say his lips are for another adult. It ain't got nothing to do. So when she used the word grooming, that means I'm letting you know that I am safe. This little Kit Kat, this little Now Later, this little, what do we have? The little bubble
Oreo
things,
cookies.
bubble gum, all of it.
Pinwheels.
All of it. All of that. I was thinking of the bazooka. Ain't that crazy? Just the old school candies, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm letting you know that I'm safe. And I'm gonna do it very slowly and gently.
I'm letting you know that I'm safe. I'm letting you know you can trust me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go on.
Right. And so then how dare we blame the little girl being fast? Because she was actually slowly groomed that this person is safe. Right? So we have to check our judgments when we think about like how we got here. Because that's how deep it goes. Because remember, this is the grown woman that wasn't acknowledged.
Yeah.
Right.
not the little girl that wasn't acknowledged. We said it still hasn't been acknowledged. That's the trigger.
Stop.
Okay.
And so
Wow.
you was overlooked, you was not protected when you was a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And now 38 years later, you're still being violated and unsafe or handled wrong with those who's supposed to love you.
Right.
And so you say you're constantly fighting, not now, but was constantly fighting
Yeah.
to be loved.
Yeah. You know, I really developed, you know, everyone asks me this question: how in the world did you manage to stay in that situation and be friendly and, you know, be kind and still hang around those people? And, you know, because listen, I have, you know, there are family members that will never speak to those family members again. There are family members who wanted to call, you know, DCF. There are family members who, you know, figured out how to just go with the program. There are family members that were repulsed and disgusted. And, you know, I mean, it just ran the gamut of, you know, the different types of responses, you know, that we had to this. But, you know, you know, because this was never really, you know, a kind of a secret, you know, we all had to learn how to now accept the monster that lived in our inner circle. And we all develop ways to be able to do that. I have, like, you know, listen, my best friend is like, ain't no way. She and I disagree 100% about whether or not I should have or been able to still have a communicative, you know, if you want to call it relationship, as toxic as it was, you know, with these individuals, because, you know, it's so unnatural to have experienced what I experienced and still be able to um, function to a respect. It's kind of difficult to explain.
I want to put a little there's some clinical words here.
Clinical.
Post-traumatic slave syndrome. It was literally coined by a lady named Dr. Joy DeGruy. And it talks about the reasons of why, when you talked about as Black folks, we just shut up and take it. Right? We were taught to, right? So because if I'm going to teach as a mother, I'm going to teach my daughter how to, that master might come into the shed and you're just going to shut up and take it. That's the, right. And you're going to guess what you're going to do. You're going to take it and you're going to shut up. And you're going to stay silent in the way, and your silence is actually honoring your mother. Hey,
Yikes.
hello, right? Because if you, mom, told me how to shut up and take it, then I want to make you happy. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to
shut up and take it.
Okay.
Wow.
And guess what? Your mama told you the same daggone thing.
Wow.
And we've been doing this for 400 years.
Yeah.
So then when we say we're so removed for 50, 60 years because we can now read and we can now go to school, and it's amazing, right? I love that we are on this side of it because now we can educate each other and say we don't have to no more.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're going to have friends that are going to be uncomfortable because they rather stay in their post-traumatic slave syndrome self. We going to stay right here because, again, it's comfortable to shut up.
Yeah.
It's comfortable. Now, your body ain't comfortable because you've been having headaches. You can't sleep, right? You can't keep nothing down, but you're fine. You can't probably keep a healthy relationship.
That's very true.
Hello? But you're calling yourself, but you're comfortably going to repress. There's nothing comfortable about your life at all. Sometimes physically, sometimes when we don't address things that are psychological, there's plenty of medical doctors that refer their patients to me. Right. And then I refer them right back. They're going to need this medication. Go in and talk to them. And they going to talk. They don't need to talk to you. Right. We're working together because for whatever reason, there's reasons why you are diseased in your body.
And it tells you, even the Bible tells us that those things will manifest itself as a sickness, bitterness, unforgiveness.
Literally will.
All of those things will manifest itself in your body as a sickness. So like you say, it's going to go hand in hand. You're going to go to the physical doctor and they're going to send you back to me and vice versa. I just think that is so amazing how you just brought out as far as the slavery mentality, what we've been taught. That was really deep because we talk about Jim Crow, how he taught us how to not like each other, to pick people against one another because the color of their skin, the gray of their hair, you know, the shape of their body, you're better. And they pick each other against one another. Now our grandmother is teaching us, oh, she thinks she's better because she red, or she's yellow, so she can't go out there in the sun. So those things are still going on, although today we're supposed to be 50 years removed.
But colorism is real.
It is real. And so this is what I want to say to you. I wanted to say one word to you, and you tell me how does this relate to you? Rejection.
Real. That was my life. Real. Rejection is real.
And then you know these people. So now that you want your uh oppressor and those that know of them to acknowledge you, just to say, you right, we're sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not been given to you.
You know, that was the original intent. As a matter of fact, we had Dr. Tasha and I. You
Ooh,
know,
go slow, go slow.
go slow, go
Okay,
slow, go
okay,
slow.
we ready.
We're not
I'm
gonna
here.
go slow.
Okay.
Just
So
take a deep breath.
yeah,
We
take a
just
deep
that's
breath.
another breath.
yeah. So
There was
so
an intervention.
There was
There
an
was an
intervention. There was
Yes,
an intervention.
absolutely.
Yes,
Oh,
there
wow.
was an intervention. Because we really wanted. I really wanted to keep this matter private.
Mm.
I really, really, honestly wanted this to remain private.
38
But
years later, you're
38
still
years later,
protecting them.
I was still protecting.
She was taught that was love. See, you
Yeah.
don't remember that part. That's the part. Her being private and protecting
Yeah.
was love.
Yeah.
That was what was taught.
That's powerful.
Ain't that crazy?
That's
Yeah.
crazy,
I
but
love
powerful.
them so much that we'll all go to our
We
grave
will
and
all
say
this
go to our
nothing.
grave and say
Mhm.
nothing.
That's love.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we're gonna have to
And-
unlearn that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's not self-love.
Yeah.
Oh, not at all.
I did have to learn that. Like, I had to learn that I was willing to just go to my grave
Mhm.
and never. So we had an intervention,
Yes.
and we
Okay.
invited one of the individuals that was deeply involved to have a conversation.
Mhm.
And in that conference, I don't believe, I wish I had the pictures. They're posted on my Facebook page, but I don't think I have been more disappointed in that individual in my entire life, because they knew what I had been dealing with. They knew that I had been in therapy. They knew that I had been triggered. They knew that they were coming to this meeting to have a conversation, to say, hey, we need to work together in order to help this lady, this grown 53-year-old woman. We need to work together to help her make sense, give language, give words, give understanding. We need to help her shed this burden. We need to, shift some of this responsibility, because, mind you, I was the one in my love. I was the one that was required to carry that baggage, to haul that suitcase. It was on my back. I carried that thing
My
for
God.
years, for the adults in my life who refused
My God.
to do it for me. I did it, and I did it with grace and with elegance. But at the end of the day, it was way too heavy. So we had this intervention, and the one individual, we thought that we could just have the conversation and at least start the talk, and that we would come back for part B, and we would finish up the conversation. And that individual came to the meeting with a notepad of all of the reasons why 38 years later it was still my fault. And
Wow.
it just was all bad.
Wow.
That is why we're here today.
Mm.
Because if you're going to make me walk away from this and still hold your bag, I am going to bring it and lay it at your feet. Here you go. This belongs to you. It's not my baggage to carry any longer. I did it for 38 years out of love, out of sacrifice, out of wanting to protect you and say,
Yes.
you know what? Almost as if my life didn't matter. You mattered more to me. You mattered more. Your honor, mattered more than little old me. But when I brought it back to you only after, not just because I just felt like bringing it up, but
And not
owned
salty.
after.
It
Right.
wasn't salty.
No.
It was to process. That was the whole
Right.
point.
It was the process.
It was all just a process.
Yeah. And it was like after being triggered, after literally going through yet another violation, not physical, but
Mhm.
just mental and emotional, while I was, I'm good at this. I'm there's this airline that would get me to my hometown on a Friday night. I would run into the city, I would blow that sucker up. I would go and visit all of my haunts and do my thing and see my people and go and run around and go and, say hi to everybody. And I would be right back on a plane Sunday night, back in time for work. So I was good at going in for the weekend and kicking it, and coming on back home. But, I never spent an extended amount of time there until there was a need for me to do so.
Mm.
So during that time of being there for an extended period of time, I don't know if that's what emboldened or caused that lust demon to be stirred back up in that individual, because again, you don't see me. I'm 1,000 miles away. I live in South Florida now. You don't see me like that. So I don't know if that long period of time just stirred that demon. Maybe it was dormant in them. I don't know. But it literally brought that thing back forefront, and again left the city in full-fledged tears, calling family members, oh my God, help me. They're like, no, not again. Yes. And I'm like, they're like, and they literally said, you have got to go to therapy because we cannot help you. It's too heavy. They got their own stuff that they got to deal with. They got their own children that they go on wilding out on. They got their own abuses and traumas and situations. And this thing was just too much. And so we dealt with it the best way we could.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. Tosh,
Yeah.
to be a part of something where you seeing someone to come humble, to come
Mhm.
just for truth, and then to still be blamed, still not being seen, still not being protected, still being left to carry the bag alone. How do you begin to help her walk through this process?
I mean, you see my whole demeanor. I get pissed off, right? So obviously, as a professional, the professional that I am, I cannot become emotional in a way where I unravel.
Mm-hmm.
However, you can be very present for all the professionals and all the folks in mental health fields and medical fields, that you can actually have a personality, you can
Mhm.
have compassion, you can actually be moved by, right?
Mhm.
It just doesn't need to consume you, because
Mhm.
then now you got some unresolved stuff in your own self,
Right,
right?
right, right.
But if you can make sure that your own stuff is pretty good, now we can deal with the fact that this makes me angry as a clinician, and how I can deal with it is, oh wow, she said this out loud verbally. As we know, she's very articulate.
That she is.
Right? So we know she didn't hold anything back. She did it with, if you could have heard the tone, there was no offensive tone. We have to, there's a tone when we're salty, right? But it was more like, can you please sit on the couch with me? But because you don't live here, we're going to do this thing over Zoom. And we're going to do it. And as long as it takes, it could be 5 parts, 6 parts, 7 parts. We're going to just take it 1 hour at a time. And let's do it at your speed. That's how deep it is. Now we're talking to someone that is used to protecting, but we're actually going slow to what is comfortable to you. Ain't that deep? So she was the one that was violated, but she's making sure that she yields to the one that has not dealt, right? Because she also understands this is deep for all of us.
Yes.
So even in her mind, heart, body, all the things that are literally unraveling, she is able to stand, position herself to actually educate. And the word that we kept looking for was to be unfaulted.
Yes, that was my word.
That was your word.
That was my word.
Your word was to be unfaulted.
That's all I wanted.
And it could have, I wish the story, Lord knows, and it can still happen. Hello, we living, breathing, and we here today.
Yes,
We'll take a phone call. We'll go to the website. It's drivebytherapy.org any day. Do you understand? Because I want the predators to call too. Because we
Right.
got to deal with why you think what you're doing is
It's
okay.
okay.
Or that what you did is now forgotten. It's not.
It's not.
Right? So for me, so you see how salty I get, but I'm
Mhm.
salty and I also want to help you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? And those that were hurt by you, let's talk to them together.
Mhm.
We need to talk to you, Dr. Tasha, because I don't even want to hold this anymore. Even there are violators that are uncomfortable,
Mhm.
right? In all of their glory and all of their beautiful homes and beautiful cars and beautiful garb. I don't care what it is, but inside you as ugly as, okay.
Ugly. Yeah. Oh, we got
You
it.
can't stand yourself.
Mhm.
You see what I mean? And
Mhm.
so for me, the way that I'm standing even now is how I stood next to her then.
Indeed.
Period. I said, so let me get this right. You actually heard what she said and you have nothing to say? Because it was a lot of silence.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Same daggone silence that got us here. But we're not allowing this silence to be voluminous in our life
Right.
and be loud and for us to not deal.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing. We really are already along a process that you're behind in.
Yeah.
But we're coming back to get you. Because that's what we do as African folks of the African diaspora. We go back to get you. Those who understand the village.
Mhm.
Right.
We don't even want to do this by ourselves. That's the
Right.
beauty of the heart of this woman.
Mhm.
She doesn't want to be just free. That
Yeah.
doesn't help her.
Right.
She would love to help set you free. Come on, let's
Yeah.
do this thing together.
Yeah.
I know it's hard.
Right.
I've been at this thing for 2 years. But let's.
Yeah.
So
Woo.
I thank you for that.
Can I just say
You
this?
can.
I just say this
can.
because it was, and you hear Dr. Tasha's tone, right? You see her righteous indignation, right?
Mhm.
I needed that in this therapeutic moment. I needed for someone to say to me, "Hey, that is not okay."
And I hear you.
Yeah. I needed somebody to say, yeah, flag on the play. Yo, it is not okay for you to keep, hypothetically, having dinner with this person.
Hello.
It's not okay for you to, just keep doing, like acting like this didn't happen.
Mhm.
It's not okay. You have got to take some level of, you gotta love you a little bit better than this, sis.
Yeah, we're
Like,
just giving permission. I'm giving you permission to say that your feelings matter.
Yeah.
Your feelings
Yeah.
actually matter. And if you're bothered when they come to the barbecue and you just, because you just try to keep low, you just gonna bring the chicken or the Fago. That's the old school Midwest. That's how we call it, the old school pops. That's what we say.
Yeah.
And we bring you something to drink and we do all of this because we're trying to keep the peace.
Yeah.
No, you ain't got to. You ain't got to serve another chicken wing to him or her. Do you understand?
Not
They
another.
don't even need to know where we live.
Not another one.
Not another one.
chicken
Not
wing.
another one.
Not
Period.
another pop, soda,
Period.
beverage.
Nothing. Not even a
Not a
hello.
napkin.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
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 Okay. Everybody okay?
I'm about to.
I need you to
Look,
know.
I'm about to be right there with you.
yes.
Look, I wasn't on the phone, but I feel you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm trying not to get mad my
Okay.
own
You
self.
see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Okay. And so let's play this
Okay.
video right here
Okay.
and tell me again, how do this resonate with you?
All right.
I know a lot of women who have experienced trauma from their childhood experiences, and I think this generation is like labeling it now, and I think we're the generation that's gone to therapy more than any other generation, so we have language, though I think that generational trauma has existed in families for a long time.
Absolutely.
But like what you just did, I've been debating as like this has come up in my body and in my feelings and being here, like, do I say something? Do I not say something?
Do.
And it felt like it wouldn't be worth saying anything because it's like we can't change it. There's nothing you can do about it. But for you to acknowledge it,
Yes.
I think that what most adult children want is just the acknowledgement.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
And that's why I say to you, do what you can do with your children, because I'll never hear my mother say anything to me that will help my trauma. I just have to live with that beast.
Mhm. And as you hear her saying that she thought she would never be able to get a acknowledgement, or she
Mhm.
felt like, why bring it up?
Yep.
What will it make a difference?
Yeah.
And then I will never get them to say, I see you.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
You know, again, Sarah Jakes Robert and her mother, the wonderful First Lady Sarita Jakes. Mercy, they have been ministering to me through this process. Um, Throughout my life, throughout my teenage years, my adulthood, there were times in which the emotions would overwhelm me and I would erroneously blurt out my pain. And the individuals that were involved in this with me were quick to shut that down. They let me know, we ain't about to have that. Go somewhere with that mess. You don't get the right to have these moments of breakdown. You don't, we ain't, no, shut up, stay in your place, stay in a child's place, stay in a, a subjective individual's
Mm-hmm.
place. Um, no, we are not talking about this. Um, and so I learned how to chew on it. I learned how to chew on it. It was this video when I saw it, couple of things, and I'm closing my eyes because couple of things that really just resonated. Number one, Sarah's tears. I understood those tears. She never identifies what her thing was.
Hmm.
um, but it was her tears. It was her saying, now that this has come up in my spirit, listen to what she's saying. Like, she's like, yeah, this thing has always been here, but
Mhm.
something happened to me. And now that this thing has come up in my spirit, I'm just wondering, should I say something? And with me having been rejected so many times over the course of the years, down, having been, ostracized, having been thrown away, having been, not believed,
Mm.
having been,
Hmm.
faulted that entire time. It was something about the emotion of that video that resonated. And I love what Lady Jakes did. She said, I don't know if saying something would even matter. And you hear Lady Jakes say, please do. It was that softness.
Mm.
It was that mother thing. It was that, mother to daughter conversation. And she is encouraging her daughter to say something, please do. And she continues on to say, like, she's like, because I don't even know if I even, and oh, she says, because I think that this generation, like, we are the most therapeutic and we seek counseling now. It's no longer a stigma to
Mm-hmm.
go to therapy now. Like, we're okay with being verbal about laying on somebody's couch and
Mm-hmm.
saying, okay, I'm jacked up. I need you to help put Humpty Dumpty back together again. We're okay verbalizing that now. And she's like, and we're able to give it language. We're able to talk about things that we weren't able to talk about. And Lady Jakes is listening. She's nodding her head. There's something about body language when people lean in, and you can tell that she was just leaned in to her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and she was really just letting her be expressive and share whatever it is that she knew was hurting her. And at the end, she makes a statement that I just, even though my story is a bit different, her thing was, she was like, Mom, I don't know if I should say something about whatever happened to me. And Lady Jakes makes the statement like, yeah, please do.
Mhm.
She's like, because at the end of the day, the things that I experienced, the things that maybe her mother did to her or her adults in her life did to her, they done died and gone on to glory and took it to their grave. And they will never, ever be able to apologize to her for it or give her the freedom or the ability to walk in it, to be free from it because they're dead. And she's like, I just got to live with that beast.
Mhm.
I don't want to do that no more. I don't, I don't, I
I
don't,
just don't.
I just,
And I won't.
and I ain't,
And I ain't.
and I can't,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
So would you be okay if you never ever get a listening ear? Because what I hear is that you saw how uh, First Lady listening to her daughter,
Mhm.
listening to her story. So if that person or those people never give you a listening ear, they never give you, I'm sorry, they never give you, I understand. Uh, would you be okay?
I'm going to have to be because that's what this is all about. This thing can no longer live inside of me. It's no longer going to live inside of me. So if the adults in my life can make the decision to not engage when when you already know this is not no surprise, this is not no, that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
If they are able to make the decision to, discount and ignore and not deal with me, then I need to make a decision too. And that decision is like, okay, we overcome by the word of our testimony. We overcome by the blood of Jesus and the word of our testimony. So look at me. I have a very good friend who has heard my story, and she's like, she asked me a question, a recovering addict. She asked me a poignant question. She said, well, did you ever do like hard drugs? And I said, no, never. She said, you should be strung out somewhere with having dealt with this. You are a prime candidate to have been a crackhead or to be out here on Flocka or to be, looking crazy and out of your mind. And she's right, I am. But look at me. I am fully functional. I have had some challenges with maintaining safe and authentic and truthful, honest relationships, particularly with men.
Mm-hmm.
I have certainly struggled in that area because I don't know what love really looks like because there was some challenges there for me. Um, but if I never get the apology, I hope they're watching, by the way,
Ooh.
because I hope, or I hope someone that knows me, that knows them, that
Mm-hmm.
have, will say to them, will share this with them and say, maybe y'all should just, maybe, hey, maybe y'all might need to call her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm hoping,
Mhm.
but I'm making the decisions now. And I made that very clear. I told them, I said, listen, okay, it's out now and it's not going back in.
Mhm.
So, and I give you right of first refusal.
Mhm.
When you might be renting a house and the owner says that they might
Buy.
sell it,
Mhm.
and
Sell it.
and you ask them, can I get right of first refusal? Okay, well, I gave you right of first refusal. Hey, can we deal with this privately? Because this has come up in my spirit.
Mhm.
Like Sarah said, this has come up in my
She did.
spirit. Can we deal with this? And I was declined. And so now I make a choice that from this, I go and I help somebody else.
So that's your campaign.
I'm campaigning now. And you know what? April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, and I see myself speaking to classrooms of girls and students and children. And I see myself sitting on syndicated national television shows. I see this as just the beginning of the reality that you can tell your truth and not be worried I don't, listen, statute of limitations is over. I can't get paid. I can't go and do, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against those individuals. I have no financial gain
Mhm.
for being able to, for legalities. I have no legal recourse here. But what I can do, honestly, is I can put a face that a lot of you know, a face that the people on this live right here are like, oh my God, that's LaWanda. I can put a face that people know to a situation that has happened countless times over and over again. No, it's not just happening, to Caucasian families in the backwoods of West
Mhm.
Virginia. Incest is happening in Black families every day. It's happening right now. Mothers, watch who you bring around your children. Aunties, watch who you associate with when you watching the kids. Uncles, be careful with your friends that come over while you might have your nieces and nephews running around. Be cognizant that lust demon runs deep and it does not go away. Y'all got to pay attention to these little girls and little boys who are being touched inappropriately by demons and monsters that are after their soul. Do you understand that it ain't about that child, but it's about that soul? It's about the human being. It's set up to destroy.
Mhm.
Y'all got to be careful. And especially in a day like today. Back in the day, you mentioned it earlier. What goes on in the house stays in the house, baby. We gonna have to annihilate that.
Period.
Yeah, we gonna
Yeah.
have to say ouch when ouch hurts,
Really.
and we gonna have to tell the truth and let the devil be defeated.
Okay. I'm gonna let Dr. Tasha wrap up, and you too, Lawanda, with anything you want to say. But I'm just sitting here listening to you talk, and I know you're not coming from a hateful place, because even talking now, you're not trying to out anyone.
Right.
You're not trying to paint someone as in a bad picture. You're not throwing names out there. Even in that, you're still being protective.
Mm-hmm.
Even in that. And so I
But
know,
she's choosing that now.
right.
That's
There's
the
a
difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's where she's adaptively coping, and this is her choice. Not because she has to, but because now she can.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting when I was listening to her, sometimes you spend your whole life wanting to be received, which is what the 53 years has been, right?
Mhm.
And now she's not waiting for someone to receive her, to be her. That's period. She's just gonna. She's
Be.
when you see the LaWanda will be LaWanda, it's kind of crazy. But like the question now is, well, who is she?
Mm-hmm.
And now that we get a little touch of her authentic self, we're going to stay there until we get another touch of her authentic self. And then she's going to stay there and then stay there as often as she decides, which is her real life now. There was something about I wanted to share. Sometimes, a lot of times, if we weren't touched sexually, we don't even realize that we've been traumatized. Let me tell you, there's a secondary it's called secondary trauma or vicarious trauma. And it means if you saw it, if you witnessed it, right? So you might not have been domestically, the domestic violence wasn't actually on you. There wasn't actual contact, but you actually heard it through the walls while you were going to sleep at night, right? Or you knew, hello, for adults that are afraid of the dark, that you knew it literally is called sundown syndrome amongst a lot of different therapists, psychologists, coaches. We literally talk about there are certain things that happen because of what happened in the dark for whatever age that was, that literally at your age now, you are actually scared of the dark. You keep your TV on, you keep your radio on, you want to find something to distract yourself from the way that you have been taught and conditioned about what happens in the dark. And that's grown man, I'm talking to you too, that you have to keep something on, right?
I
Or
keep
that
something on.
or your hello, literally,
I keep something on all
TV
the time.
on or clothes on.
Yep.
And that is called a learned behavior and a trauma response, right? Because you don't feel safe naked in your own bed.
You have just unveiled some things,
Woo.
because most people would just think I'm just afraid of the dark. I just don't like silence. And the key is you remember, even though you probably suppressed it, you know something happened
Yep.
in the dark.
Mhm.
You know something happened in silence. And so even 55, 59, 63, 89, you
Literally.
still are dealing with those things that you don't know you're dealing with.
Yep.
And I'm going to segue in this. You have a drive-by therapy.
Yep.
And I went one time, and I remember things been said that I said, "Oh my God, I didn't even know that I needed therapy."
It was a
In
good
those
group. That was a good
situations,
women's
you know,
group.
because there's sometimes until something is said, until something is brought up, or the scales has been removed, you don't even know that you're suffering from that. And I believe this story, your story, and I'm not saying a story as far as a lie, but I believe you're sharing
Mhm.
is going to unveil some things.
Yes, indeed.
Even something as simple as that, Dr. Tasha, that why do you feel like you need
Yep.
a TV or a light or music on?
Or your
Why-
door locked. I mean, it's beyond. I'm
Hello, is
trying to
this-
stay safe.
is-
You're
is
not.
this
You're
thing on?
scared.
I lock
Oh.
my door all the time.
It's a real thing.
Hello.
Now the front door is locked. The back door is locked. She got 18 probably different deadbolt
Lock.
locks. Right. But for whatever reason, this door right here that gets you to my bedroom,
is locked.
that thing gonna be locked.
And I'm in the house by myself.
With a deadbolt.
I believe you.
It's ridiculous.
Because it makes you feel safe.
Safe.
I'm safe.
And now
Yep.
I'm not telling you to now not lock your door. I'm saying let's now identify why we do what we do.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this.
Jesus.
She has now identified, and now we're going to really march forth out of right what used to keep her like. I don't know if the word is stuck, but it truly was a stronghold that she used to allow her to keep her silent.
Yes.
She ain't silent no more.
Right.
Right. And if you know this one right here, she is the MC of all MCs. So her entire, imagine that, right? So she knows
Literally.
how to talk out loud about
Literally.
everything else
Mhm.
for 53 years, but this
Mm.
until now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great
Woo.
at that.
Lord Jesus.
Do you
Help
have
God.
Hey,
that
oh,
I'm about to try. I'm trying not to speak in tongues. But
Lord.
it was just coming up for me too.
Lord.
But
It was literally
you
about
know,
to come on up.
because this is deliverance, and sometimes deliverance
Oh
looks
yes.
different for everyone,
Yeah.
and but it's something that's necessary. And you can never change something that you're not willing to confront.
Yeah.
And because you're willing to confront that means change is here.
Absolutely.
Change has to come. And so, do you have any last remarks that you want to say? You know, because we can go on, but
Clearly.
this is an hour
Listen,
show.
Yeah, it's
and,
only an hour
yeah.
show. And I remember watching when I knew that I was going to do an exclusive with you. I remember watching you interview another young lady, and her story was just so compelling. And I was just like, oh, when I'm ready, this lady is going to be my interviewer too. Because it's so therapeutic and it's so helpful to really just kind of, get all of that out. I think that, for me, it's just important that we do have an opportunity to tell the truth
Mhm.
and shame the devil. I'm getting a little emotional because that was wild. Because see, this is what I love about therapy. Like, you don't know this. Like, even last week, like what she just said to me, we've never talked about that before. We've never talked about my
No.
bedroom door being deadbolt locked.
No,
We've
I had
never
no clue.
talked about that. We've never talked about that. I sleep with my television on. It's like
Mm.
these are things that we've just. So it's like every time we talk, something more is unraveled, something more is pulled out. That is the benefit and the beauty of just having someone to talk to that can just like help you process. So
Mhm.
now, like, we gonna have to have
That's
a
clearly,
whole
yeah,
nother
that's a
that's
whole
a whole
nother-
god dog. You get ready, get some more money. Like it's like
You didn't even think about that,
yeah,
huh?
it's like I'm never done paying her. Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm just like it's wild.
Mhm.
Just last week when we were in our session, we were talking about cognitive ability.
Oh yeah.
And she went to her books and she started looking up, like, when does a child develop the ability to know right from wrong, and was reading. I'm like a textbook case, like
Yeah,
this.
truly.
Yeah,
It's a
textbook.
lifespan development, and when you start feeling inferior and you stay there
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you were arrested right there.
Arrested. It was wild. Like, it's just so much. What do I want to say? Follow me on social media. Listen, I am coming for that devil.
Mm.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming and I'm about to cut your head off.
How can they find you
Um,
on social?
Social media, listen, I use both too. My personal page is Lawanda will be Lawanda on Facebook and Instagram. I'm not on IG because I am 53. And we are the Facebook generation.
Okay.
um, so yeah, I
Upcoming
try to
book.
share. Yeah, I try to share. I have my business, which is You Need a MC, hosting a lot of events. I got a couple that's coming up here really soon.
Oh
That's
yes.
going to be very powerful. One of them is actually throughout the first part of this journey for me was to stand up, and her idea
Yeah.
to
It's
start
called in Bebo exposure.
okay, group
Mhm.
therapy.
Yeah. Yes.
And we invited a whole bunch of women some that I knew, some that I didn't know, and I had to stand in the middle of the floor and I had to tell my story in graphic detail. There was not a dry eye left in the room. From that created a women's group. It is Ladies Let It Go. It is being sponsored by both Drive Through Therapy and Emerge Woman, which are two individuals that I'm very close to. We've got an event coming up on April the 6th. That event is going to be our women's group, our women's therapy group, and then that same group, Emerge Therapy, is going to be hosting a Kentucky Derby wellness brunch on March the 30th. And listen, I'm just connecting with women. I am doing my part to put a face with it and say, it's okay, sis. It's okay, bro. It's okay. We can help you to process through that. So follow me for those events and all the events that I have coming up on my business page, which is You Need a MC. That's YOU Need NEED, the letter A, the letter M, and the letter C. You can always find me, youneedamc.com. If you're ever hosting an event, you need a public speaker, you want to have me on your podcast, you want to continue to talk about this subject, I am available for that because I'm coming for that devil. That's just it. That's the bottom story. That's the end of the story. I'm coming and I'm going to take his head off.
All the way off. Dr. Tasha, tell us about your drive-by therapy.
So everybody is able to reach me. Do you understand? Drivebytherapy.org. Did you hear me say earlier? The predators, the violators, the batterers, the killers, all the above, the sex offenders, all of the people that would be drug addicts, alcoholics, prostitutes, all of the things that if you are saying right now, entertainment at night, all your what is the thing that people watch now? That's
Pornhub.
all of it. All of the things. What I was thinking of the only
OnlyFans.
You. The minute that you really are like, wow, I'm making so much money, but there's something about me that doesn't find any dignity in this mirror that I'm looking at. Call me, text me, because I want to actually help you work through it. And it's so individualized, right? She's sharing her story, but your story is different.
Yeah.
But the core of it is this fact that you are not even like in any level of like, there's no peace there when it comes to this area. And so, yes, please reach me on drivebytherapy.org, on IG or on Facebook. It's Dr. Tasha, DOCTORA. And Tasha, I guess in the more recent time, March 16th, I'm doing a Sunrise Healing Circle. Free. Hello. Free. As in the sand is free. Do you understand? Sunrise, I think it's 6:30 a.m. With Tamika Fussell. It's with her organization, and I'm just coming to do the healing circle at Sunrise. There's a lot of things I do every month, but I want to do them with you. Right? I'm not here to talk and hear myself talk. I'm actually here to help set you free so that you can actually then set, just like Sarah Jakes Roberts helped set her mother free.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? You can set generations free once you finally say out loud that it's not okay.
Yeah.
And so I just thank God for you that this is what you do.
Yes.
There's a lot of other things that you do, but you make sure that you do this, and it's being true to you. It's actually it's a podcast and it's a lifestyle.
Yes. It's definitely a lifestyle. Yeah. You have something March 30th, correct?
Oh, same thing with her.
Yeah.
The Kentucky Derby. You put on your hat, and we're just gonna have our wellness impact brunch
Yeah.
with Emerge Women.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And when is the next drive-by therapy?
Oh, we'll see. You know, I don't know. I'll let y'all know. I'm gonna make drive-bys. So, do you understand? I'll make a drive-by to your house. That's what you don't know.
But I will.
That's where
But I
this whole
will.
thing came from.
But I will tell you that we just had an event last Friday night.
Yes, it was the
and
talk show
it
last
was-
Friday.
The talk show was last Friday night, and it was Cocktails and Conversations. We were at a local place, and I heard a question that someone put in the jar dealing with this very subject.
Mm.
So people are dealing, adults, these are adults that are dealing with this subject. I heard that. Yeah, and I'm going to be writing a book.
Okay.
Yep, I am going. It's actually I'm 10 chapters in, and I don't know where it's going to stop. But I can tell you that the hard part of the book is written. It's very detailed. The book doesn't necessarily take on the posture of protective. The book puts it all out.
Tell truth.
It tells the truth.
You unveil some stuff.
Yeah, I really, really go in detail in regards to my trauma and, what happened and when it happened and, and how it happened. And, because my predator was bold, like it would be broad daylight. There would be other family members standing around or right in another room. Like my predator was bold. My demon was bold. He was bold, and he did not care. And it was just a while. So my book really will talk a lot about that. I've selected a book signing and launch date of August the 22nd.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Neither did I.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Okay, I'll be there.
I am excited
Hot off the
about
press.
that. It's going to be hot off the press. You heard it here
Hey.
on the Be True to You
Exclusive on the
Talk
Be True to
Show.
You Talk
Okay.
Show.
Yes, yes, yes. So it is coming forth. And it also what it does for me, because, listen, if you don't put a date on your dreams,
You're
they
just
will
procrastinating.
expire.
It's so true.
Yeah. And so I had to put a date on that because I need to have it done, and to my publishers and to my editors and, and have to my planning staff and, because it's Freedom Day. That's going to be
Amen.
my Freedom Day. And I'm looking
Amen.
forward to being able to share with the world.
Amen. Before we end, let me tell you that I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you because this is not easy.
Yeah.
Truth is not easy. Some people think just because you're saying be true to who you are, that is easy. It comes for a price.
Mhm.
It comes you being ridiculed. It comes with giving people something to talk about. It comes with being, mistreated, rejected. And so to walk in truth, you're strong. Although you're sharing your weakness, it's when you're the strongest.
Yes.
And so I'm super, super proud of you.
Thank you.
And I know that this is just going to make a difference in so many people's lives. And I believe that you had to go through, you don't want to go through, but you go through for purpose.
Yes.
And God had to break your heart to move you to your destiny.
My Lord.
And so I'm proud of you. Thank you for sharing on Be True to Your Talk Show. I thank you for trusting me and know that I love you. They're saying that we need to have a part 2. And so I'm sure that you guys will come back. We'll get together. We definitely have Dr. Tasha on. I love her. This is my second time interacting with you, and I just think you are amazing. And so thank you for saying yes to coming to be a part of the platform. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Be so kind to continue to share. Invite your friends to like us. We're live every Monday on YouTube, Instagram, as well as Facebook. If you have any topics you'd like us to talk about, please inbox me or email me at Be True to You Talk Show. If you would like to be on the Be True to Talk Show, if you have a story that you're not the victim, but your story will help someone grow, help them, push them to the next level, please come and share your story with us. And again, thank you so very much for sharing. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Thank you again for my guests. Connect with them. If you want to MC, listen, this lady right here is phenomenal. I would never have an event without her. I have an event in November and I'm already texting her. You available? You available? Put it on your calendar. You will not be disappointed. She knows her stuff. She will make the event come alive. And y'all already know. She got compassion. She got indignation with you. You know what I'm saying? She got a little hood in you when it comes down. She with you. And so please connect with Dr. Tasha. You won't go wrong. Connect with LaWanda will be LaWanda.
Yeah.
Follow us at Be True to Talk Show. And thank you so very much. We love you. And remember, in everything you do, always be true to you. I love you. I mean it. Bye. We're okay together. Be true. Be true to you is not about being perfect. It's about being authentic. It's about being okay with the good, bad, and ugly. To accept those things about ourselves that we can't change, and those things that need to be changed, we put on our big girl panties and do the work. Be true to you is about being real with God, being real with self, so we can be true to you. Be true to you is not about competing with one another. We're about